and we know this is what we're meant to do. So we wake up, put our feet on the floor, go and conquer the day like a warrior, like warriors. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. No need to panic anymore. We got lots of support and an army of warriors by our side. We fight the good fight when we unite. We fight the good fight when we unite. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Explore Pro Tech Coffee Shop Show. My name is Sondra Ray and I am the host. And I'm joined by the amazing Peter and Mr. L, who are going to help us on the show today. So today we are continuing the topic of finances. So April was Financial Literacy Month, so we started at the top of the month with, what is that? And then we've just been doing overviews and then deeper dives as we go. So you go back and watch April shows so you know what we've done up to this point. So today's topic is something that it's important. It's important for profit, nonprofit, little, small, medium, large. Like pretty much, I think this one branches out to all businesses of all types, of all sizes, and all kinds. So grants. Grants are an amazing vehicle to help your business. So again, whether you're a startup, nonprofit, profit, e-com, service-based, whatever, there are, I think it's like millions of grants out there. And of course, international, local, everything from local all the way through international. So I know in the US, we have lots and lots of free and paid resources on how to look for grants and how to do grant writing and so on and so forth. That's its own industry. So, but I reached out to a friend that does grant writing. Unfortunately, she couldn't be on the show today, but I was asking her for tips. I've actually used her in the past, so I have a relationship with her. But that was actually her first one, build real relationships. So if you're going for grants and you know somebody in the company or learn about the company. Try not to be random when you're applying for grants because it's going to give you a leg up. Like what they do, what outcomes they do, who they help. It just gives you that extra little layer of tip if you can understand them and their values and what they're looking for in the grant itself or the people they've helped in the past. Look at past grant recipients because then you can be like, oh, well, they've awarded to this type or that type. Can give you a leg up. Be prepared, do not panic was her other one. Have your documents, your budget, your bios, your mission, your outcomes ready 2 to 3 weeks before the deadline so you can apply with confidence because a lot of times grants have very specific deadlines and you need to know everything they want. I've had some where you have to do a video or you have to do testimonials or case studies or everything in between. So definitely read your grant application way beforehand if possible so that you have all the pieces. And then her third tip was there's grants for everyone. Start local, search with purpose, and don't hesitate to use AI tools to find funding that fits your vision. The biggest thing is to just start. So that's Miss Jeannie. She owns Abundance Grant Writing here in the US. She's based out of Oregon. She moved. So when I met her, she was in California. So I think those are good tips because sometimes it's very overwhelming. Again, I have looked at grant platforms and stuff before, and I'm just like, I have no idea um, where to start. So the biggest thing is to start and start locally. A lot of, at least in the U.S., based in the U.S., so a lot of states and counties have grants. Like you just have to know to go look for them. So I can't say that applies for everything in the world, but definitely. Um, and then the components. So Peter and I were talking before the show about like the components really relate. They're you can relate the components to grants for the most time. All of them have their own unique little twists, but there's some basics that you need to know. Your business plan. We've talked about that in the past. The components of that, forecasting, your values, your mission, um, customer avatar. I'm gonna forget some things. Who do you want on your staff? Who do you have now? Who do you need? Why? Why do you need these people? Why do you need this funding? What are you gonna do with this funding when you get it? Oh, I'm gonna go out and buy the best computer ever. Well, that's probably not gonna work, but unless you're doing a tech grant. I shouldn't say that. There's probably a grant for that. I know there's tech grants because I've seen that. What was somebody local? Um, works in like shops, auto repair shops, and he won like a $200 tool grant. So he gets to buy $200 worth of tools for the shop. So there's not, like I said, when I said there's grants out there for everything and everybody, there's so much truth to that. So yeah. Peter, come on in because we were talking about how this relates a lot to proposals and business plans, your grant application. Again, everyone has they're all unique, but there's definitely some components to it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I want to just go backwards just slightly to what you said earlier about knowing who you're applying for a grant with. Um, it's not a game of random. It's not a game of chance. When you're applying for a grant, you have to be very, very, very specific. Very specific. Here's an example. You don't go to a church and apply for a grant to open a bar. They're going to deny your funding, and it's an answer to their prayers. Glory be. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So you have to know who you're applying for a grant with. What are their hopes? What are their dreams? What do they hope to achieve? Because they don't just hand out grants. Oh, here's a grant, there's a grant, everybody gets a grant. They, as a company, want to achieve something. So if what you're looking to achieve lines up with their goals, with what they want to achieve, and you approach them and go, I want to achieve this, and they go, yes, that's what we also want to achieve, then your application for the grant is more than likely going to be successful because you're taking them on a journey with you where they want to go. But you cannot take somebody on a journey where they don't want to go to because you need a grant. So rule number one, do your homework on the place that you're applying for a grant with. If you might find out straight away, oh, I've done my homework, we don't line up. Let me find a place that we do line up, because then the chances of the application being successful is just so much more. When it comes to, I mean, a grant is basically a proposal. You're creating a very specific proposal. You are proposing something that is purpose-driven, that has a particular purpose, that has a particular outcome. And you want to be very specific as to what those purposes and outcomes are. Because if you're not specific, you can't just go, oh, I want to apply for a grant for what, for my business. Okay, that does not inspire much confidence at all. At all. I know that when we create proposals, when we present in higher learning institutions or universities, we don't just go to them and say, you need us. Their first question is, what makes you think that? Why do you think that? What have you got that you think we need? These questions should already be answered. Somebody should pick up your proposal or your grant proposal, read it, and because you've done your homework, they're like, yes, because this is the journey we want to go on. So I think that leads us to the components that we're actually going to be discussing, because if you don't have these components in your grant proposal, then it's not really a grant proposal, is it? It's has to be specific, has to be very specific.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I was over here typing in the live show. The multiple duties of being the host and the producer at the same time. Um, so yeah, I agree so much. So much, Peter, that there's alignment there, and knowing who you're applying with is so important. And then if you know somebody in that company or industry, tap into that knowledge. Be like, hey, you know, Peter's worked with colleges, so maybe if it's a grant you're getting from a local college, maybe you talk to Peter because he's worked and done things with colleges, or Mr. Hendricks does, in-person um, things. So maybe he knows a local person in that company right now. So that and Mr. Al does many, many things. And one of them is he works in radio. So maybe I'm sure he has lots of relationships with local business people. So be like, hey, I'm applying for this grant. Do you know anything about blah, blah, blah? And this person that's running the grant. Use your connections. That's why we build relationships. That's why Explore Pro Tech is coffee first, business later. So we are all about building relationships. So that is extremely, extremely important. Mr. L, come on into the conversation.
Hi, Sondra. Thank you very much. Peter, you mentioned something very important, and that is aligning yourself to the company needs. If a company needs to fund for a specific goal, then align yourself with those, because they will not just fund you for funding. They will not just throw money away because they've got a budget for funding. They will fund you because you are aligned with their vision. And most of the time, what we need to also understand is companies, and especially government, will only give you a grant if it's for your business growth, where you're going to create employment, because they want to have an impact in the community. They want to see you growing, where you are able to absorb a number of people in the community, because they want to improve the livelihoods of the community. So they will give you a grant if they see you are aligned with their goals. If, like Sondra mentioned, you just want to buy the fanciest computer or laptop so that you can boast around with it for errors, then you're not going to get it. You know, the grant will only be the funding will only be granted, or the grant will only be funded, whichever way you look at it, only if you are aligned, and only if it's for a specific goal that the company or the government is looking at. So that there is just one thing that we need to look at, because the grant has got to benefit a community or stimulate the economy at least. So if not that, then forget it. So align yourself. And the other important thing, Peter, I think you alluded to it, research. Which company is or shares the same vision, or has got what you need, or they are doing something that you are also doing. Hendrik works with machinery, and if he applies for funding from, let's just say, Caterpillar, for instance, they know he will be able to grow. He will be able to employ more people to use their equipment, and at the same time, he is advertising Caterpillar for them. So that is aligned. They will then probably fund him because he works with machinery. So know where you want to go to, know which one you want to go to, and know how you can be aligned. Get to know the vision. Because, Peter, a very good example, applying to a church for opening up a bar or to grow your bar, especially when it's next door. Next door to the church. Forget it. You'll not get it. So yeah, no, thank you very much. This is Lesetja Mokou from Litchmark, your business development agents.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, Mr. L. I want to back up just a teeny tiny bit. Be organized. When you're applying for grants, have a system in place. Know like who are you applying to, what their deadlines are, whether you use a task management system like ClickUp, Trello, Asana, gazillion million other things, or a Google spreadsheet or Excel spreadsheet or a document. Have some organization to it because especially if you go after multiple grants, you need to know all the various parts. You need to know the deadlines. You need to know when do they award. You need to know if they award that, is there steps afterwards? So when to look for that award letter or go back and maybe you have to check a website or something like that. Write down the website. When did you apply? And again, what do you need beforehand? There are some grants where you need recommendations by people. So you need to go get those recommendations from people or testimonials or things like that. So again, there's a relationship base too. So make sure you have people that you can go to get recommendations or testimonials from, of course. But have that all organized and have your basic documents organized, the business plan, all those things. Your research, like grant. I don't know, Verizon's a big phone company, so Verizon actually gives out grants. I know that for a fact, but like write down the website and where you're applying and all those things and have a system for that so that you have everything in one central place so it's less daunting when you apply for grants and also include your research when you're organizing things. I just want to bring that up because some people will apply to randomness and then it will show. It will show if you're being random and if you're not keeping yourself organized. So definitely for sure have that in place. And a lot of grants ask for outcomes. What are you going to do with the money and what is the outcome you want to have? There's no guaranteed outcomes, but what do you want the outcome to be? I want to hire a team of virtual assistants, one for social media to grow my marketing, one to customer support to strengthen my customer support by 50% or whatever. Have tangible outcomes because they want to know not only what you're going to do with the money, but what do you want it to, what's the purpose of it? I need a laptop because my laptop's 10 years old and a better laptop will do X, Y, and Z. It'll have more efficiency, organized, speed, all those things. I'm thinking internationally, I need, the solar packs and all those things that some of the remote international places need. I can definitely see, but like, hey, I can actually work more hours if I have X, Y, and Z equipment. So we're not saying you can't ask for a laptop, just know what you're going to do with the laptop to put the funds to good use. I think there's that difference. Come on in, Peter.
Yeah, just a little bit of a tip. Different spaces use different language. Each space will have a language all of its own. That language will be related to their why, their goals, how they word things. It's almost a unique language to its own space. If you are going to apply for a grant with a space, you're going to want to investigate their space and take a look. Be very, very, very precise when you do this. Take a look at what language are they using and how are they using it. Because that will be how you need to write your grant proposal. You are proposing that they give you money, and if you are using the same language that they use, it will relate to them. They will relate to it. It will be something that they will clearly understand because it's relatable. So I don't think many people actually take a hard look at the language that's used. They just kind of look at a proposal and they write it in their own language. But don't do that. Take a look at the place that you are applying to and investigate what language they use. If they're using specific words, if they're using it in a very specific way, when you're showcasing what your outcomes are supposed to be and why you're doing what you're doing, if you're using similar language, it'll pique their interest more than it's just coming from you and you haven't investigated at all. You've just written something that you think everybody should read. Don't do that. I've taken this to an extreme. I've created a proposal for a space that I'm proposing to go, and I still have to go and present in their space based on the proposal that I put together. So they've received the proposal, but I didn't just create a proposal and send it to them. No. I interacted with one of their higher ups and created the proposal and sent it to one person. That person was intrigued, and we got together and we met, and her response was, "This is a great proposal, but the language doesn't actually." And between myself and that one person in the business, before we even present or give them a final draft of this proposal, she was like, "I love this so much. We're going to sit together and I'm going to help you with the language in my own space." So that's taking it to like an extreme degree with the language, where I'm getting one of their members to actually help me with the language to present to them. That's how important it is. Strangely enough, with this particular proposal, it's something that they want so badly that they're actually willing to help me with the wording of my own proposal so that they will accept it. It's very strange, but that's what happens when you build relationships, right? You build relationships with people and you reach out and go, "Hey, I've created a proposal for your space. But before I send it through, take a read, let me know what you think." And the instant response was, "Absolutely love it. Let's get together. Let's change this wording." Because I don't have an understanding of what they use language-wise internally, but she does. So that proposal is coming up soon. That's going to be absolutely brilliant. We're going to absolutely love doing it, but take it to that degree where you create a proposal for a space or a grant proposal. If you have a relationship in that space, rely on that relationship and go, does this fit? Does the language work? Does does it tick all the boxes in regards to where the space is going? Because if it doesn't, then you're just wasting your time. You can go and write like 1,000 grant proposals. If you're not doing your homework, what are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. And then what I thought I'd like to do is turn the tables. You're the person with the money. Somebody is applying for a grant from you because you sit at your desk and you've got piles and piles of money all around you, and somebody is coming to you and saying, "Please, can I have a little bit of your money?" And then you're like, well, what would you like to use it for? And they're not specific. How are you going to spend it? And they're not specific. Is this going to change people's lives? Man, you don't really know. Is this going to feed back into the economy? And once again, they're not really sure. How likely are you to give them money? Not really. Not really. So sometimes you just got to turn the tables a little bit and go, what would you expect somebody else that is applying to take your money? And what do you get out of it? Because at the end of the day, if they're going to give you money, they're going to get something for it. The question is, what? So sometimes flipping the tables works really well.
I love that method, Peter. Because sometimes you don't have the relationships with people in the industry or in that company. And that's fine, and we also, we have a lot of technology at our fingertips where you can research, grant winners from that company if they've done the grant before, or grants that have been awarded in that industry, grants that have been awarded to, Etsy shop owners, like get very granular and specific. And again, do your research. It's great if you have the relationships, but if you don't be like, oh, I can't apply for that. You just have to put a little more effort into the research part of it. So you'll be like, okay, show me grant winners who won this, and possibly their grant app information can be out there too. I don't know how far it goes into that, but definitely do your research and be like, based on these recipients winning this, how would you write this? Or there's definitely questions that can be worded correctly. And like Peter said, or flip it and be like, if I had this money, how would I want people to approach me? And what would I want them to say? I think is a good way to do that too. Mr. L, come on in.
I think, Peter, you have mentioned, but you haven't stressed the point of having relationships enough, because relationships just open doors. You want something to happen, you got to build a relationship somehow. I know, I mean, I do proposals not just for fun for grants, but for sponsorships as well. I do a lot of them. And I can tell you now, the reason why I'm not successful is because I haven't built enough relationships, especially in those companies where I need funding from. I haven't. There's only one that happened 2 weeks ago where I succeeded. I got to go and meet them, presented not a proposal per se, but just a sketch of how I want it to happen. And next week, I'm going back again because now I've got to go and do a proposal. Okay, I met one person. Now I'm going to meet a group, two departments that are saying, come and tell us what you want to do and how you want to use our money for your radio. Okay, so that is exactly what I've done. And Peter, spot on. Relationships, make sure that you review your proposal with somebody. Don't just write it out and go and want to present it. It's not going to fly. You need to. It needs to be refined. The language, as Peter mentioned, the language that you use in there needs to be correct, and that is why I've got this group here, this platform here, where I can just, at a push of a button, I need this, who can help? As easy as that. And that is the power of relationships. You cannot win if you do not have relationships, even in government. You need to create relationships, even in government, for you to be able to go forward. Otherwise, you're not going anywhere. You're going to be stuck with 1,000 beautiful proposals that could have gotten grants or funding, and they are not, because one, you probably are not, you haven't built a relationship with somebody from inside. Secondly, the language that you've got is not right. Your proposal might be what the company or the government needs, but if it's not done correctly, if you don't have somebody that can give you tips from inside, then let's just forget it. Thank you for the opportunity, Sondra.
Thank you, Mr. L. Another note on that is make sure you fill out all the grant. Don't skip things thinking they're not relevant. If it's incomplete, it's an automatic objection. Like they get thrown out. Oh, it doesn't apply to me, or oops, I missed it, didn't mean to. Isn't going to cut it. So make sure you're answering every part of the grant steps and doing all the steps, and have somebody double check your work. Like you said, have people read if they're in the industry and you can have them read it, or a relationship with somebody inside the company, have them read it and be like, hey, is this what you wanted in this section? Because everybody words things differently. Like we said, language matters. I asked on the YouTube channel who's applied for a grant or who has one going right now, and there was one person that answered, and forgive me, I am not great with pronouncing names, so we're not going to even get there. But the answer is the tip they gave was develop a detailed business plan. Again, we talked about business plan like 2 months ago, with clear objectives, market analysis, and realistic financial projections. I like that. Realistic financial projections. We can all dream big. I am all for dreaming big, but there's got to be some reality when you're writing a grant. You can pie in the sky it, but if you don't have some facts and stats, statistics to back it up, unless it's a grant for dreaming big, I bet there's still a component where it says stats and statistics, and use resources. I mean, I know in the US, we have libraries that have research departments. Go to them and go, hey, do you have stats for X, Y, and Z? Or go to ChatGPT, or, use your resources. But statistics are factual 80% of the time, but they're really good for grants. A lot of times you need stats. I'm a coach, so coaching industry has grown by, 1 billion users in the last 2 years or whatever. It's almost that, but have those stats to back up what you're doing is definitely going to help you in your grant writing process. So thank you for that tip, because realistic financial projections is true. In today's world, finances is finances. So, and with the ever evolving economy all over the world, knowing your financial projections and being realistic about that is super, super important. Peter, come on in.
I think the thing about a grant is that if you're applying for a grant in a space where they have a document that you want to apply for a grant, you download their document and you fill in their document. It's very fill in the information, but at the same time, you're in a space where you need to persuade somebody that you're the right person to be given this grant. So the art of persuasion, you need to know what it is that they want before you can persuade them that they actually need you. Because it's, by not persuading them, they don't need you. They don't. If you're not going to put out why they need you or why they need to give you this grant, then why are you writing the grant in the first place? So the art of persuasion, if you haven't mastered it, research it. Research it. I could sell ice to an Eskimo. Not that they need it, but it comes in a block shape, which maybe I'll give it to them in a different shape. They'll buy it. I think not everybody has the skills that they need to draft up a grant. And that's fine. That is 100% fine. If you are applying for grants left, right, and center, and you're not getting what you require, or you're not getting what you need, it just means that you are not the person that is supposed to be writing your grant proposal. When it comes to my business, when it comes to the numbers and the accounting, I am not the person to be doing that. Don't let me touch it. I'll mess it up. The authorities will be knocking on our door very quickly, going, you owe us money. And I'll be like, what money? I don't even have money. No, I'm just not the right person. So I think something that we need to look at as business owners or whatever space that we're in, if we're applying for grants, is that there are people that specialize in grant writing. Who knew? Go and find out who they are. Go and find out where do they network. Go and build a relationship with them. Maybe send them a grant and say, hey, listen, I've tried to apply for this grant and I've been unsuccessful. And they'll take one look at it and go, oh, the reason you're unsuccessful is because you haven't included this. And you haven't included. Now, the place that you're writing the grant to, they're not going to tell you, oh, you didn't include this and you didn't include that. They're just not going to grant you any money. They're not going to tell you, oh, you made a mistake. This is not, it's not junior school. It's not even high school. They're not going to go, oh, you left this out. You didn't give us this relevant information. Whereas somebody that specializes in grant writing will automatically know that if you do not include this information, they are not going to grant you the grant. Oh, that sounds weird. Yeah, yeah. And then you're not going to get the grant. So even Sondra, you said your friend that you go to, I'm pretty sure we can even put her details in the yeah. If you're that person that is doing something you're not meant to be doing, stop it. Just stop it. We can't all be great at well, I mean, I'm great at most things, but we can't all be great at everything. It's not the way the universe works. You think Elon Musk could put rockets into space because he was the best scientist, the best money man, the best engineer, the best everything? Is he great? He's freaking brilliant. But do you think he did it all by himself? No, not a chance. He found the best people to do the right jobs. Um, well, I was going to say it's not rocket science, but that actually was rocket science. Sorry, but it relates much the same to ourselves and our businesses. If I'm not the person to write the grant, let me find out who is. Even if I'm just reaching out to get some advice on how can I write this grant, or can you read this over? Have I done this right? Um, that just that input alone it's worth the grant, at least financially. So do yourself a favor, find somebody that writes grants. In my case, I'm just really lucky. I'm surrounded by writers. I think you'll find that people that write grants have extremely uh, intense research skills. I don't generally look stuff up. Generally, no. Um, and you'll find that the reason that they are successful is because they research who they're writing the grant for, and they understand the entire process and they know exactly what to do. We can tell you about the process, and we can tell you, hey, do this or don't do that. Do it like this, do it like that, because we've all made our mistakes, and we're basically speaking from our mistakes as to what we've done in the past, or we're speaking from our successes. But am I a grant writer? Ooh, no, I am not. Um, I've got incredible people around me. So I think just take it as to where it comes from. Just find someone that knows what they're doing and learn from them. And maybe next time you do attempt to write your own grant based on what you've learned. Everything's a learning curve. Peace out.
I love that. I love that for sure. Um, Again, and I know all are stressing it, but that building relationships so you can go find, even if they're not a grant writer, they're a writer. So maybe they are a marketing writer, or they are the bookkeeper or the accountant, so they can do that portion of your grant. Like, oh, you need a forecasting, you know, statistic thing. Maybe that's their jam. They like to do statistics, or that's their business. They do accounting. So yeah, they can help you with that section of the grant. So sometimes you might have to piece it together. You might be like, okay, I need somebody that's going to help me with the marketing piece of it. I need somebody with the financial part. I need somebody that, can read over my values and my missions and all that thing, so that I've got that all right. Because not everybody's going to know a grant writer, or, somebody that does all the pieces. So piece it together. Um, Business is a puzzle. I always say that, you need all the pieces. You just have to figure out who the pieces are and how they work together. So use that. Be in amazing communities like Explore ProTech, where, we are very big on, again, relationships first, coffee first, business later is not just a concept, but it is definitely something I can say 3 years in Explore ProTech. It is a real living, breathing motto. Like, it's not just a thing that we say. It is really something we can do, that we do all the time, we have chats, we build relationships and so forth. So definitely, yep. So somebody in the chat on a live sheet, we talked about this, gathering and verifying all your necessary documents before applying to avoid deadlines. Every grant has its own requirements, which is true. So you might need to do a video. And if you don't have a camera or something to do a video on, maybe you need to borrow somebody's to make a decent video to apply for the grant. Your phone. Most people do have phones. True. But if you don't know how to get off of your phone to submit to the grant research people, if you're not techie, make sure you get help with that. If you got a teenager in your house, just go ask your teenager. So, but do make sure you do those things and make sure you know how to apply that. And maybe you need to do an Excel sheet or Google sheet with your expenses, and maybe you need to talk to an accountant, or maybe you need to learn Google Sheets and templates that they already have in place. Again, being organized and knowing that stuff beforehand so that when you go to apply for the grant, you're not like, oh, okay, I can't do this because I only have 24 hours to apply or something like that. So really good point. So thank you guys. Oh, go ahead, Peter, and then we'll start wrapping up. Sorry. Time flies. We're having fun.
I think that this is just an opportune moment to actually thank some of the writers in our space that have actually in the past been part of creating our proposals. Megan Deer's one of them. Absolutely brilliant in the technical space. Brilliant. Rona, you are a legend. Rona McCormick, you are a legend. So had to put it out there.
For sure, definitely. And we appreciate those people, and they are definitely in our corner all the time. So I am super grateful. Mr. Al gets the award for inviting the most people to come watch the show today on YouTube. Thank you, sir, for inviting people. Go ahead. You go ahead, and then we will start wrapping up.
Yes, just one single advice as well is do not be afraid to go out there and ask for help. Because I know in our case, sometimes you want to ask for help, but you're thinking, what if they steal my idea? Don't be afraid. Just go out and ask. The right people will come in and help you. I just wanted to mention that, Sondra. Thank you.
For sure. I always say teamwork makes the dream work. So if you're not using your resources and your team and relationships, it gets super lonely. Like, please don't do that. You have amazing communities like this. There's other communities. Reach out to us. So our links will be in the the show notes after our amazing Susan, who is also amazing, like to listen to the show and write it all out and things. Is her superpower. She also creates the covers and schedules our show. And then we are also on a podcast. So if you can't watch it on YouTube, there's no excuse. Get Spotify for free. Listen to it on your drive or wherever you need to be. But our links are in the show notes for a reason, to reach out and build relationships with us, with me, with Peter, with Mr. Al, with Hendrik. We want to build relationships with people. We want to get to know our audience. So definitely reach out and do that. Definitely share our show. We are grateful for Mr. L inviting all the people to the show today. So share and like and subscribe helps us build and reach more people worldwide. We are an international community from all over the world, and we want to help business entrepreneurs, period, have successful businesses. So we also want to thank the amazing Somerville, who is Peter's right arm. Nestine's his left. Somerville's his right. Somerville does all the behind things. She does tech things. She does marketing, social media, and everything in between. So super grateful for Somerville. And then, of course, grateful for Nestine, who is Peter's amazing other half, an amazing accountant, and also yes, very pregnant right now. And she is the other half of Explore for Tech Leadership. So my name is Sondra. I am the owner of Get It Done Coaching, and I help people reach their goals by creating action plans, accountability, resources, aka you can tap into my resources and my relationships to help reach your goals. Peter, why don't you go ahead and take us out?
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of another amazing show. Sondra, absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. Lesetja, Hendrik, been absolutely brilliant having you here. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll end off the show with the words from Nestine Botha, which is, may your wildest entrepreneurial dreams come true.